I love to read the Psalms and memorize the Psalms, but I think really my favorite way to engage the Psalms is to pray them. And I love to pray the Psalms, whether that's taking the actual verses as the psalmist wrote them out and making that my prayer, or using them as a springboard where I take kind of the ideas that the psalmist is praying and use those and make them my own prayers. But I love that because I think it helps my prayers in at least two ways. One, that it helps me pray more broadly, but also more deeply. And so broadly, what I mean is that the Psalms remind me to pray for many more things than I would tend to think of on my own. So if I'm just sort of praying from my mind and the particular things that come to mind each day, or maybe it's a list that I've put together, I tend not to pray for as many things as I find when I look at the Psalms and see all the different topics and kinds of people that they're praying for. And so they're praying for their physical needs and their spiritual needs, and they're praying for their friends and their enemies, and they're praying for God's people and evildoers, and they're praying for their current struggles and also for future generations. And so it goes on, just so many different areas of life that they're praying about. And so that prompts me to pray much more broadly and comprehensively than I would tend to do on my own. But I also think they help me pray more deeply, because whereas I might just sort of say, Lord, help me to have a good day at work today. And that's not a bad prayer. There's nothing wrong with that. But in the Psalms, I would find the psalmist saying, Lord, if you don't build the house, then I'm laboring in vain. And so would you establish the work of my hands? Would you give me favor in my work? Or whereas I might say, Lord, would you help me to be content in my circumstances? I find the psalmist saying, Lord, whom have I in heaven but you? And earth has nothing that I desire besides you. And so I see, hey, it's not bad to pray for contentment in circumstances. Paul encourages us toward that. But there's even something deeper there in the Psalms, which is that I would be so satisfied in the Lord that would sustain me and fill me even beyond my circumstances, and that I would be ultimately looking to Him for that satisfaction instead of just wanting the day-to-day to change. So I love how as I pray through the Psalms, not just reading them, but really meditating on them, thinking about what the psalmists were asking of the Lord and how that can be a model for me as I approach the Lord, that my prayers are broader and deeper and richer.